All right, again, I'd like to thank everybody who is following along with the Youth Sports Mental Health and Wellness Alliance here in Virginia. We're so thankful to be joined today by Dr. Andrea Arcona, a licensed clinical psychologist with the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, to continue our conversation on emotional intelligence. So Dr. Arcona, thank you for taking a little bit of time today to talk about this very important issue when it comes to mental health and wellness for our youth athletes.
Thanks for having me.
When you hear the term emotional intelligence, what comes to mind? What does that term mean to you?
Well, when I think of it, really in every aspect, and certainly as it relates to sports, I think of it's being adept with understanding and managing your emotions, and being able to recognize emotions in yourself, being able to regulate them, to manage them and use them well, and to know when you need to make some shifts, to know when you need some help or you need to figure out ways to work around or when they're getting in your way, and to also be able to use them to your benefit, to use your emotional intelligence, use your emotions to help you perform better, be more consistent.
Has the idea of emotional intelligence evolved over time, or has our understanding of it evolved?
I think our understanding of it will continue to evolve. And when we think about our current state of affairs, it's not only has it evolved, but it's been impacted and changed by COVID and just the experience that we had with that. So we understand a lot more. The old way of coaching and encouraging our kids doesn't work. It doesn't work emotionally for kids, doesn't work in the long run. And so that has been evolving over the years. Positive Coaching Alliance, there are all kinds of efforts that have been in place to help with building our understanding of emotional intelligence and what helps kids perform better, and how important it is that their mental health and mental health and wellness are strong in order to reach their potential, not only in sports, but certainly in sports, academics, life.
That's actually a great lead in to the next question, because a lot of what we do, especially on the Alliance side, and what you do with your work at CHKD, really focuses on the kids. It focuses on the youth and student athletes, but the adults play such a vital and massive role in the development of these athletes, not just as athletes, but as people. So how can parents, how can coaches help foster and develop this positive atmosphere using emotional intelligence?
Well, I think that we, as parents have a very different role, I think, than teachers and coaches as well. But the thing that's common, the common denominator for everybody who's working with kids, is to really help them focus on building their self-confidence. I think that's a really important part of emotional intelligence, because in order to have emotional intelligence and understand your emotions, you have to be confident enough to be honest with yourself, and to be able to share and to not be embarrassed or ashamed of feeling or making mistakes, being able to accept, being coachable, being able to accept those things. So building an expectation that is much more focused on the athlete's effort and kids' effort and their investment and their work to improve and to plan, and all of the things that are more about how they contribute to the team, as opposed to just how they perform in each individual moment, each individual game. Working hard, being invested, recognizing something that they need to work on and making a plan to improve it. So helping kids focus on the things that they can actually control. They can't control their God-given ability. They can't control the outcome of any given game. They can't avoid mistakes. We all make mistakes, but focusing on the things that they can control and the things that they contribute to the team, I think, is a really helpful way for everybody, parents and coaches, to be able to help kids build their self-confidence, which is the platform. This is the framework for healthy emotional intelligence.
Looking at the other side of the coin, what are some steps that a youth athlete can take? Obviously, as kids evolve, they become extremely adept and very smart. And I think we don't a lot of times give them enough credit. So what can they do to help themselves evolve and develop this key component of emotional intelligence as they go on through their athletic careers through high school?
Mm-hmm. I think that focusing on their overall development for kids, even just focusing on keeping their eyes on the long term, so that they don't get hung up on any individual mistake or any individual poor performance. We all have them, right? So helping kids be able to understand that at the end of the game, whether they did well or whether they did poorly, the parent's response should always be, I enjoyed watching you play. And then to help encourage the child, so for a parent to encourage the child to say, okay, yeah, how'd you feel about the game? All right, wasn't your best game. We all have games that aren't great. How are you going to improve? What are you going to do next time? How are you going to get your head clear? And to really reinforce, for parents to really validate and reinforce the times when they see their kids being emotionally strong. Like when you dropped that ball or when you missed that shot, I thought, oh gosh, I'm sure he's really frustrated. I'm sure he's disappointed. But I saw you get right back up and work hard and get the ball back. I was so proud of you for that. So when we compliment our kids as parents, to focus on the things that we are proud of, that are not about the score. It's okay to say, oh my gosh, you scored 20 points. That's fantastic as well. But it's which would be basketball or something, not soccer, which is what I'm familiar with.
That'd be a lot of
exactly. But to be able to say, I was really proud of how you handled that situation. I was really proud of how you supported your peer. I was really proud of how you got yourself up and didn't let that get in your way. Encouraging as parents, praising the things that are more about their effort and their emotional intelligence, their ability to manage the emotions that go along with sports. Because it doesn't matter how great you are, everybody has great games, everybody has not great games, and learning how to manage that and be resilient, all the things that we know as parents to build resilience in general, I think are just really important in sports as well. So for the athletes to be able, for parents to say it, for us to say it, for coaches to say it, for everybody to say, focus on the things you can control, focus on the control the controllables, and anticipate that things are not always going to go well, and next play, focus on the next play, next game. And I think those are things that parents can do and that we can say to kids that to help them build their emotional intelligence, and increase their performance and their enjoyment of the sports. Sports are supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a job when you're a kid. It's supposed to be fun. So that also contributes to really the enjoyment, the passion, builds the passion, takes away from when things do happen, when there are big disappointments, big losses, big mistakes that are, can really be embarrassing for kids in the moment in games, to help them keep it in perspective.
As athletes continue to, as an adolescent, I should say an adolescent, not even an athlete, as an adolescent continues to develop this stronger understanding of emotional intelligence, what are the long-term benefits? I'm sure that we can probably figure them out on our own, but I want to hear from you. What are the long-term benefits of an adolescent really beginning to understand this concept at a young age?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's research supports the idea that in your business and ultimately in every aspect of life, we are more successful if we can manage our emotions better, be more empathetic, understand others, understand ourselves, manage, recognize when we have weaknesses, because we all do. So not only does it contribute to more consistent performance, because we're not focused on each individual moment, we're focused more on the long term. So the benefits are more for the games and the athletes and their performance, more consistency, and also in their social experiences, being able to manage the team side of the sports, getting the benefit of being part of a team and being able to contribute in ways and value all aspects of themselves. So their performance tends to be more consistent. Their academic performance is more consistent and more successful. They find more success because knowing how to manage and navigate not only our own emotions and our reactions to other people, but to be able to understand, part of emotional intelligence is also being able to understand what other people are bringing to the table and being able to respond appropriately to that and keep it in perspective.
I'll get you out of here on this last question, but we've heard the term for years following just sports at all levels of mental toughness. Should we be replacing that term with emotional intelligence?
I absolutely think that mental toughness is associated with emotional intelligence. Should we be replacing the term? I think that they are both important, actually. I think building mental toughness, and it's okay to use the term as long as we incorporate it as well with emotional intelligence. I think because we want kids to feel like it is okay to be mentally strong. It's like being physically strong. It's a skill. Work on, you want to work on building how your physical capacity, you also want to work on building your mental capacity. So I don't know that we need to replace it necessarily, but we need both. We need them to know that being mentally tough, being mentally strong is not only about, it's also about being vulnerable. Building your mental strength and it also involves emotional intelligence. So replace it, I don't know, but we do need to consider both.
Well, it's always great to talk to you. You've been a very big part of the formation of this alliance over the last year, and even before that, when we've been doing this programming with between the Hall of Fame, CHKD, and our other partners. So, Dr. Andrea Arcona from Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, we thank you for your time today to give us a little bit more insight into this very important topic on emotional intelligence. And I'm sure we'll be catching up again very soon on some other topics as we go through the year. So, thank you again for your time today.
Looking forward to it. Thanks. Thank you.